did my best, and I did my best for you.
Welcome to the Tea Drop, guys, where the brew is strong and there's lots to talk about. I'm not gonna sugarcoat what we're getting into today because TNA just announced a workforce reduction that's, for the most part, corporate speak for we cut people, and it happens 3 weeks before Slamversary, guys. 3 weeks before Slamversary. And one of the people walking out that door just broke down, for the most part, in tears on SiriusXM radio. Now, as always, the brew is strong, so let's strap in and let's get into this drop. On June 17, 2026, TNA Wrestling issued an official statement. And I'm going to read this statement directly because all the words in here are going to be very important for the discussion we're going to have ahead. And I read, TNA Wrestling today announced a workforce reduction designed to streamline operations and sharpen strategic focus and profitability. TNA's creative leadership team will see an immediate shift. Tommy Dreamer, who has worked in TNA's creative and talent relations department, is leaving the company as TNA and Dreamer mutually agreed to part ways. TNA Wrestling also has come to terms of the release of Tessa Blanchard. We wish Tessa and Tommy and others the best in their future endeavors. Future endeavors? I don't know why that sounds familiar. Now, I need you to pay attention to how this goes down. That is, of course, their press release, but in pro wrestling about laying people off. And where in the world does a wrestling company send a corporate statement to management to manage cuts? That's not how, for the most part, I've seen this industry move. That's more of how a company tries to get ahead of a story before the story gets ahead of them, which tells me one thing: the story was already running. So let's talk about who got cut and who walked. Let's build this out because TNA only named 2 people in that press release, but here's what the receipts are showing. And we can start with the first one, Steve Maclin. Now, Steve Maclin was a main event talent. He wasn't pushed out. Per reports, he left on his own will earlier this month. He walked. And then we have Tessa Blanchard. Now, Tessa, she's a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Tessa confirmed it herself. Tessa said that TNA asked me, Tessa, you need to decide whether you're a CMLL wrestler or a TNA wrestler. I took my time to think it over with my dad, whom I trust very much. My life is here. I'm not just another foreigner. I'm the most Mexican gringa. I have many goals to achieve here, and I already reached the top of a mountain. I want everything over there, but I have my dreams, many dreams, and goals to pursue. I needed to focus my career and my life here in Mexico. And from this moment on, I am 100%. This wasn't a release at all. It looked more like an ultimatum, and she didn't blink once. Now let's move on to the other release, Sammy Callihan. Now, Callihan wasn't just a former talent. He was also a producer working behind the scenes in TNA. And here's the receipt that my jaw dropped a little bit. He confirmed he got a phone call, and he thought originally that call was to talk about taking over creative. Instead, he was released. In what world do you call a man to fire him and he picks up expecting a promotion? How did it get there? I don't know. Now, we can also talk about other workforce reductions, including Myla Grace and Danny Luna. Myla Grace and Danny Luna already were out the door before the press release even dropped. And then the other biggest thing in this conversation is, of course, pay cuts. And per the Wrestling Observer, talents were reportedly asked to take pay cuts to remain with the company. A few things can be happening at the same time in this situation, which one is some people were let go, but some people were told take less money or leave. I wonder why that sounds so familiar. I feel like I talked about this before. And some of them just left. And it gets more interesting after this. This is happening 4 months after TNA debuted on AMC Network in January 2026. That was the biggest momentum play TNA had of recently. The most visible TNA has been on cable television in years. So where in the hell do you land on an AMC deal in January and announce a workforce reduction by June? Why does that not make sense? Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you heard a wrestling executive breakdown on live radio? Not kayfabe, not a worked angle, real tears. Tommy Dreamer announced his TNA departure on Busted Open Radio on June 17th, and he didn't hide it at all. He talked about driving 15 hours by himself during the pandemic to go to work because he believed the people he was working alongside. He talked about losing his mother and how keeping himself busy with TNA helped him survive that grief. Let's hear him out.
I said it before about being emotional. Excuse me. A lot going on. To kind of steal something from Larry David or Jerry Seinfeld, I'm a really good breaker-upper. All relationships come to an end. And yesterday I had a great conversation with Carlos.
Yo, look, we all know how, if you watch Tommy Dreamer's career, you know how emotional he gets when he truly believes in a company, like he did with ECW and I guess now TNA or any other small promotion he's worked with. He is a true workhorse. He will do whatever he can to make the fans happy and the business grow. So him being in this situation just hits him right there. But anyway, let's continue with this.
Silva and me and TNA are no longer in a relationship.
Damn.
We've mutually agreed to part ways. It's hard. I've given so much of my life to that company. I don't have any ill will or malice. I want it to survive and I want it to be the best it can be. I love this business.
Yeah.
It's hard because
he truly does.
I'm not going to be able to see the people that I helped. I had a lot of people help me follow my dreams, and I love that part about the business of what I did.
He truly loves it.
It was 24-hour. I loved going to work. I did, but everything comes to an end. I'm not crying because I'm mad or I'm emotional.
Okay.
But I know I'll be okay, and I hope TNA will be okay. And I'm going to avoid my phone for a little bit. But like I said, I'm crying because I loved going to work, and I love the people I work with. There was a lot of really special people. I created so many moments. I have so many highlights, and I love it. When my mom died, it was the saddest day of my life. And I came on this show, and wrestling helped me. And then right from there, I literally jumped on a plane, and TNA got me through that. With the pandemic, man, we were all scared together. This show got us through that. I would drive 15 hours by myself sometimes just to go to work because I love the people that I worked for. Like I said, there's no issues. There's no malice. It's just at this time, we just need to take a break. And I want to thank everybody for watching the show, supporting me. Like I said, I'll be okay. There's nothing it's just the way it has to be right now. And it's going to be hard, but it'll be harder talking to the people. So that's why I just wanted to say it here. And I want to thank Anthem and TNA and for the real wrestling fans for supporting. And if you went to a TNA event and you had a good time, that's all I asked for. I never wanted to be in. I just want to be a wrestler. And I was always just thrust into these positions. And I did my best. And I did my best for you. And that's all I got to say. And again, I'm sorry for getting emotional.
This man is just putting a brave face. He's putting a brave face. Look, that's not a man putting a brave face after getting fired. That's someone who genuinely bled for something he believed in. He truly believed in. And then he gets into tears and he hopes TNA will be okay. After all that, after they fire him, he has no malice. He has no hate in his heart when it comes to it, because at the end of the day, he still loves the business. He wasn't angry. He wasn't bitter. He was sad. And it's different when you think of it that way. Dreamer worked in both creative and talent relations at TNA. He's had more than one job. He had 2 roles just for one person. He said it himself. It's a 24/7 job. And nobody understands the job until you have the job. And he's watching Slammiversary from the sidelines for this year. And it is what it is. And it's unfortunate. But the timing is everything when it comes to this situation, because here's where it gets interesting, or at least where I land on this. Slammiversary is going to be on June 28th of this year. That is about 10 days after the press release was dropped. Dreamer confirmed his creative work will still air at the event. So whatever you see happening at Slammiversary, it will be part of his thought process, storytelling wise. After that, who knows what's going to happen. And he said it. I hope you enjoy Slammiversary. I will be watching from the sidelines. PW Torch Greg Parks framed it well, and I'll give him credit where it's due. He says in this article that the moves themselves aren't necessarily odd when it comes to this event. It's the timing. And he's right. 4 months into your most visible TV run in years, and you're cutting your head off creative, going into your biggest PLE of the summer. That doesn't feel like a company stabilizing at all. It looks like they're trying to get its numbers right before something bigger happens. And what could it be? Well, let's think about it. Let's talk about the Anthem potential sale angle. And apparently WWE is circling around that. And here's the drop you've been waiting for. Per Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer, WWE's current working agreement with TNA reportedly contains a contractual option allowing WWE to purchase the company outright. And it gets deeper than that, because per additional reporting, WWE has made a real offer to purchase TNA outright, with one condition: only if no other parties purchase it first. So let's look at what these receipts are telling us. And let's start with this one. WWE has a purchase option built into the working agreement. Another thing is WWE has made a real offer contingent on no other buyers. Anthem cut staff to streamline operations and sharpen profitability. Talents also were offered pay cuts to stay. And then also creative leadership walking out 10 days before Slammiversary. Now, where in the world is that not a company preparing for a transaction? Few things can be happening. Anthem may be setting the table for a sale, and TNA's talent and staff are paying the price for the decision while they wait. Now, let's talk about where I land on it. Now, I want to be straight with all of you. And here's what, for the most part, is confirmed. The workforce reduction, TNA's own words, Tommy Dreamer's departure confirmed by both sides. There's also Tessa Blanchard's release confirmed by Fightful and TNA. There's Sammy Callihan's exit and his own social media posts. And there's also the pay cut angle that was reported by Wrestling Observer. And there's the WWE purchase option that also Wrestling Observer talked about. Now, whether those two things are actually happening, who knows? I mean, Dave Meltzer has been on point on some stuff, but then most of the time he's not on point on some stuff. So take it with a grain of salt, as always. Now, what we've been watching right now may be the slow dismantling of a company before it changes hands. Or it could be a cost-cutting pivot to stabilize and be more competitive. But the people impacted, Tommy Dreamer driving alone through a pandemic because he loved going to work, those aren't the line items on the spreadsheet. Those are real people. And the marks who cheered them deserve to know what's happening inside these TNA walls. As always, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Anthem is setting up a sale? Is WWE the right home for TNA's legacy? And what does losing Tommy Dreamer mean for creative direction going into Slammiversary and beyond? As always, if the tea hit right, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.